Berkshire County town of Sheffield in September of 1969, a boy, his mother, grandmother, and brother saw a UFO, an unidentified flying object, not far from the Upper Sheffield covered bridge. Today, there's a park in the spot where they saw it, and it has become a destination for UFO enthusiasts. That boy, Tom Reed, is now 62 years old, and he joins me now to discuss his experience. Hi, Tom.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No, you bet. Thanks for being on our show. Okay, right out of the gate, what did you and your family see back in Sheffield all those years ago?
Well, there were three objects, actually. We had gone through the Sheffield covered bridge, and off to the left, when we had exited the bridge, there was what looked like a large white sphere, if you will, probably 3 or 4 times the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. And it rose to about 2 to 3, I guess 2 or 3 stories. And off to the right, there was a second orange sphere, which was much smaller than the white one. But we kept going because, it was a bumpy road. It was late, and we were looking out the back window at it. And when we got to a clearing, my mother pulled over, and sure enough, there was what looked, and I've said this since I was a young child, that it looked like a floating turtle shell. It was huge. It was about 100 yards in size. And we've always felt that there was a human element involved when we were extracted from the car and that kind of thing. And of course, our diner was involved in the space race, and the Sprague, had just manufactured a goodwill message that was left on the moon. So there was a lot of talk at the time. So yeah, we kind of got wrapped up in all of that.
So it was more than just one thing that you saw, it was multiples.
Yes, sir. There were 3.
Now, was it just you and your family who saw these, or were there other people nearby or others that kind of came out of the woodwork later to say, hey, yeah, we saw it?
Yeah, well, lately there's been an awful lot of people, but even back in the day, there was probably a good 250 witnesses to this. Kevin Titus, who's a magistrate now, he was a witness to it. The Historical Society interviewed, dozens of people even currently. And the rep went out on WSBS radio. My father actually had it mentioned at the United Nations in support of General Assembly 33-426 on October 2nd, 1992. And so this has quite a backstory to it. Our diner was actually involved in the space race, involved in some of that government funding, and those people that were working on a space race used to eat at our diner. And I think that was really where the interest came from when contacting us about would we be willing to talk to the Historical Society and do something with us.
So, Tom, of all the UFO sightings around the United States and around the world, what makes this sighting so special?
Well, for one, it's the only one in the United States to actually have gotten as far as it did. It was deemed historically true by state historians, the Great Barrington Historical Society, and of course, there was a citation that came out with the governor, Charles D. Baker, and then there was a date missing in it, so it was reissued a couple of weeks later, kind of rubber stamping the decision by the Historical Society, and it went before the United Nations. And I think that, unfortunately, there's been a lot of silly verbiage thrown around the incident. We try to keep it very grounded and factual to preserve what really happened, and I think that's really what the park is, too. The park is a spot for people to go who might have been criticized early on, and just it's kind of it's something for them. I don't live in New England, so I very seldom ever get to visit it. But it is something that I think is deserving to those other witnesses from the Berkshires.
Tom, you mentioned a moment ago about the park. Tell me a little bit about how the park came about.
The park came about by there was a monument that was manufactured by locals in honor of the incident being inducted by the Historical Society. And that was placed there by the town of Sheffield's Department of Public Works. And for some reason, because they didn't like the way it looked, and I didn't live locally, there was some blowback, we don't want the monument here, and I get it, it wasn't the most attractive piece. But I think that put a damper on things, and then once it came out that the town did actually install the monument, there was an awful lot of support. And when you have something like this happen to you, your word means a lot. I've taken polygraph tests and the whole bit, but, I keep to my word. I don't sensationalize. I keep things grounded. And with that, I got a lot of support from the Roswell UFO Museum. And they had actually donated a bench. And before I knew it, TV shows were donating benches and lights. And the entrance sign was now donated by History Channel's Ancient Aliens. And it's just grown from there. We've got backers now from the family of B.B. King and Tyrone Vaughn. the nephew of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So it's growing. And if it brings some tourism to the area and they can have some fun with it, terrific. But
That's
the idea of the park was to be a non-judgmental spot for people to go and maybe meet, like-minded people that have an interest in the topic.
And I know a lot of UFO enthusiasts from around the country go and check it out. It's a unique little spot in Sheffield. And Tom Reed, I want to thank you so very much for sharing your story with us today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.